So anyway, it's almost like the same material because all these brands, they're all having the same perforated panel on the back, the same exact like waterproof technology, and like if you go on Alibaba, you can find the same hat. Everyone's just putting a different logo on it. But this one company I'd worked with in the past, he took is a younger dude in Canada, took like months without really posting anything. I was like, is the brand still alive? I don't even know, because he sent out these hats to me and a few others, like 10,000 guys, and I liked them. But then didn't hear anything. 8 months later, they're like, oh, we're rebranding. That's what's taking a while, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, cool. And then when the rebrand launches, I asked a few other the guys, because, if he doesn't want to send me stuff, it's no big deal. But all the guys that, had sent stuff and we were posting about the hats hadn't heard from them either. And so I was like, well, I have no, reason to stay tied to this brand. The guy and reached out to me at all and hasn't stayed because I tried to stay in touch over the summer. But anyway, long story short, I just switched brands. I'm buying these hats, and hopefully this brand that's pretty popular. They work with a lot of different professional athletes.
Do you like the hat?
Well, I don't know. They come today.
Are you plugging them? Are you
I'm gonna tag them, yeah. And ideally, they're okay, you could be an ambassador. There is one 10,000 athlete that's with them, but he doesn't have a code per se. He just has worked with them directly, and they've sponsored little events locally that he does. Because this cat, his name is Don Tran. He's pretty cool. He owns this thing called Deep End Fitness in California. Basically, they do a lot of weight training under the water. They also do a bunch of different aquatic training.
Yeah.
And they made up this sport called torpedo something league, where they have this little torpedo and they play almost like underwater soccer. And you throw this torpedo, and there's different rule sets.
I used to have a little fucking thing like that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Underwater torpedoes.
Yeah, but they have goals set up, and there's teams and everything. Yeah. It's pretty cool. And they've worked with Dominic Cruz, which was a former bantamweight UFC champion, stuff like that. He's trained there for workouts and stuff. So
never heard of her.
Yeah, I never heard of her.
Never heard of her.
Yeah.
Did he get knocked out by McGregor?
Anyway, long story short, we are live.
Yeah, what's up, guys? This is the All or Nothing Show. Got me, the host, or the hostess, with the bestest, Austin, and we got Brock, co-host.
Yeah, and we got the special guest,
and we got hold on.
I got introduction too. Do you got one for him?
Oh God,
cowboy boot wearing, fucking stringer strutting, bird flying.
Women love him, men hate him.
Yeah, dude. The real deal, Holyfield, Ronnie.
The Red Rocket himself.
The Red Rocket himself.
It, man. What's happening, Ronnie?
What's going on, guys?
Ronnie, bring the pain.
Thank you for coming on. Yeah. So we quick, preface to this show starting now is Ronnie came here a little while ago, and I walk into my office because I just finished a client, and he said he'd be here between 9 and 9:30. It was right at 9:05, and he's sitting in my office drinking beers at 9 a.m. And he's like, what's up? And I was like, just crushing Coors Light, 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Monday.
At least it isn't those Richmond lagers you bought me for my birthday last
They
past
taste
year.
like alcohol.
Yeah, it tastes like
I've had
shit.
them before. I used to hope my girlfriend don't watch this.
Do you like Hardywood?
No, I don't like Hardywood.
Oh,
I don't like craft.
Man.
You
don't like
craft
beer.
beer. I drink Coors Light, Banquet. I drink
they call that horse piss.
Redneck beer. Yeah, I drink that. But no, I used to date this chick, and she loved Richmond Lager. Her claim to fame was she would bite the bottle caps off of the things. It was like a party trick. It was insane.
I don't know if I'd be intimidated or turned
on.
I don't
know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where this is going.
Hold on.
But we'd all get.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
We'd all get drunk and she'd be and my friend would be like, do the trick, and sure enough she'd pick it up and and they'd be like, oh God. We'll leave it at that. We're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna leave it at that.
She's probably got other tricks.
Got a few other tricks. She is
she a trickster.
Yeah, she's a trickster. All right.
Yeah.
But anyways, glad to have you on because not only have you worked with me lately or up until now with my pursuit of a 100-mile or century-mile ride on a bike, I wanted to learn a lot more about, and I'm sure Brock has some questions too, of your past with cycling. And sort of how you've transitioned from cycling into what you are currently chasing after is bodybuilding.
Right.
So when you started, cycling, how did you originally get into it? Do you just pick up a Huffy and you were like, oh, sure, a Mongoose? What are those Walmart bikes? And you're like, oh, shit, I'm going to just race bikes.
So it goes a little deeper than am I close enough to this?
Yeah,
I need
I
need
where it's now is good. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
okay.
It's better to know for sure than we check
watch
it
it
later
back
and it's just whisper. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So all right. So it goes back a little further than that. I grew up on a farm, Starensville. And then so we had a motocross track. So like I grew up riding dirt bikes, 4-wheelers, all that fun stuff. Raced motocross until I was like 16, 17. Ended up getting a bicycle. Wasn't really into it. Like we had this place called Pretty Creek.
Where'd you say this was?
Wait, where I started?
Yeah.
Standardsville, Virginia. It's in Greene County, next to Orange County. If you
Still
want
don't
to
know
How many
any of
color
those.
counties they
Yeah, I
have?
don't know what the
it's
fuck
not.
that-
And then like the counties over is Purple County now. But no. So I was racing motocross, 4-wheeler, ATV motocross.
Yeah.
All over state of Virginia. Went to some nationals like Tennessee, Ohio, all that.
So have you always been, whatever sport
competitive.
you've played, been like very like competitive?
Oh, see, we already talked about this. It's gonna make me sound like an asshole.
No, it's fine.
But
It's
no,
fine to be that
I was
way.
gonna say no. Like so, like I grew up playing sports. I played baseball, football, soccer, and then I started racing motocross. Everything I've ever done, like it's been highly competitive. I've been successful.
Well, I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
like, it's fine, like, so clearly you've been successful with the sports you've done, but I'm wondering is though, like, have you gotten to that point because you've realized, oh, I'm not that good at football or I'm not good at whatever sport, but I can be competitive with this sport because my talents are better with that way? Or
No, it's more like I get bored. It's like
Okay.
I'll do something, get pretty much to like a very high level, national level, and you get to the point of no return. It's like, do you want to go pro? Do you want to like do this?
but did you get that way with football and baseball and these other
I got
sports?
hurt playing football, but like I went to school to play football. Like I went to private school to play sports. Like
Oh,
that was
okay.
one of the main reasons I went to private school was to play sports.
Mhm.
And then when I stopped playing sports, I went back to public school. So, that's when I started getting serious with motocross.
Okay.
I started off in C class. That's how like you work your way out. And I got up to B or A class, and then after that it's pro. And it just gets to the reason I quit motocross. It was so much damn money. Like you have to rebuild an engine. An engine's like $5,000. So
Well, the bike alone.
yeah, the bike
expensive.
the bike alone's
Expensive.
4 to 7K.
Yeah.
And then like on top of that, you're rebuilding the motor. You need 2. You're breaking parts, and you're all doing this, and you're trying to make ends meet. And it's like you're just pissing money away.
And those competitions probably only give out like shell out $2,000, $5,000.
Not even. You're doing this all for like a
Oh,
freaking
shit.
little trophy. You could be traveling.
Until you get to the X Games.
Yeah, until you get to the
X Games mode.
Yeah, he on X Games mode.
But no, so like, yeah, so we do that. Like everything I've done though has kind of been like I take it to the level I'm winning, and then it's like, do you want to step off the deep end?
This man cannot lose.
I just wake up and win.
Yeah,
Dude.
I just wake up
mark
and
it
piss
here,
excellence.
Bodybuilding, I will
Yeah.
win a competition.
Yeah.
He's already
I'll
called
it
home
right
to
Yeah.
now.
mom. Hey, mom, I
Yeah.
won.
Mama.
Write it down. We
Already
win.
Yeah,
won.
book it.
But
Yeah.
no, like it'll happen. But it kind of. I went to college. I stopped racing when I was probably 18,
Yeah.
or probably 20 because I went to community college first, and went I went to VCU. Well, you can't take your 4-wheeler and dirt bike to VCU.
No.
No.
You can ride on the streets. Plenty of people
Yeah.
still do that.
Yeah, they do it outside my apartment all the time.
Hell yeah.
Whole squad. So I started riding bikes, and then there's a ton of trails. There's the Buttermilk Trail, North Bank Trail, and the bike scene just kind of took off, and I just kind of ran with it. I probably rode for about a year, and then I started working with a coach. His name's John Petrolak, awesome coach.
Yeah. Is
Like
he local?
Yeah, he's out of Charlottesville, Virginia. He wins like him and Jeremiah Bishop. Jeremiah Bishop's like a local legend. He wins like he's won national championships. He's won like the Pan Am Games or like podium of the Pan Am
And these
Games.
are all off-road racing?
Yeah, these are all off road, like bicycle,
Bicycle, though.
mountain
Yeah,
bike.
mountain
Yeah.
biking.
So I started working with them, and then started winning like local races and started moving up. And then I eventually in 2020 I got second at the National Ultra Endurance Series. So I raced in
What
Ohio.
month was this?
What month?
Yeah, because 2020 was like the pandemic year.
We were still racing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is that like
it's-
the one of the few sports that just didn't stop?
I mean, some stopped, some didn't. Some races were canceled. There was enough races to have a national series. Like there were still like races across the country to do
Okay.
it.
Imagine doing that wearing a fucking mask, dude.
Oh man,
Did you?
No,
I was about to say.
Yeah.
they kind of just
God.
changed the start platforms. You wave started in like groups
Oh,
or whatever
gotcha.
state
Yeah.
regulation.
I think they still, for my 50K race coming up, they want you to have it if you're within like 6 foot of a runner or something like that. It's like,
Hold on,
fuck
let me
that.
stop and put it on real quick.
Yeah.
funny side
God
story.
Damn
on
it,
this.
man.
I was
Let's not
racing.
even dive into that.
So I was racing down in North Carolina, and this was like peak COVID. It was like an 80, 90 degree day, and we were doing like it was an 80-mile race, and it was like a race of attrition. Like it was so hot. At the end of the day, there was like aid stations just like running. And like I ran out of water, so I didn't really care. Me and this dude came into the aid station at the same time. We were both out of water, and like we're supposed to be wearing masks. And I was like, dude, I do not care. Like if I catch COVID from you, it's just gonna be what's gonna be. I need water.
So what are you, a racist? Anti-vaxxer?
Yeah. So I was like, we ended up splitting a bottle of water there, which is I needed it, or I felt like I was gonna die.
Yeah, either die from dehydration or take
COVID,
the risk.
Yeah, we're gonna risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
Finished second at that race. That was a memorable, horrible day. Then drove home all kinds of fucked up.
Yeah,
like
I could have bet, man. Sometimes after those long ass rides, especially if you a little lax in the water, you just, I mean, I'm sure with your runs, you're just almost like drunk, like you're just fucking spacey.
So fast forward to like where's your last race, and like why did you decide to kind of like ease out of it after that?
So my last race, I was still racing up till 2021. Like I raced this year. I broke my hand in Ohio.
That's right. You were telling, because when we first met, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, your wrist, right?
Yeah, I broke. Yeah, it was my wrist, my thumb.
The bone below is
yeah, and it just never really got back to right. Like what happened was I like crashed and caught my thumb on a root like that, going down a hill, and it just kind of like it was letting like it was more tendon than it was wrist. Like the broken wrist, I don't think was the issue, it was the tendon. And then after that, I don't want to get into it, but I either got the COVID vaccination or I got the COVID thing. Kind of messed with my heart. And then we just kind of rode it off into the sunset. And I was always kind of interested in bodybuilding. And I was like, well, it's a good time because I ain't got to send my heart rate that high to get into that.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at now. Like I'm moved fully into bodybuilding. And we'll do a show in the next probably 2.5 years.
So you sold all your bikes and all that gear because you told me that the other day. I mean, if you wouldn't have gotten in that wreck, do you think you would have still kept on going?
I don't know. I was starting to burn out with it. Like I'd gotten to the point where like it was right. Like to do it. Like so. Already on a side note, I'd already like I come out of school. I worked in investment banking. That's a grueling thing. You work 60, 80 hours a week. It's regular. And then what I was like, okay, well, I really want to see how far I can take this biking thing while I'm young. Took a huge pay cut, switched jobs, and then I was riding. But to keep continuing it, I was going to have to start riding probably 15 to 25 hours a week, and then like, and we're yeah.
Shit,
so we're talking about riding about between 150 and 250 miles a week every week, with like a rest week every.
Yeah, I think
week.
at like the peak of my like when I ran like 50 or so, 50 something miles for my marathon, like in a week. It was like 8.5 to 9 hours. So like I can see it's a lot of time. That's the one thing I'm worried about with maintaining my lifting for not so much the 50K, but more when I get to like the 100K, 100-mile races. When I have to put in something like 18, 20 hour like, hours of running a week, it's like fitting in the lifting is really hard.
And you think you'd probably have to go to just like a upper body day and a lower body day and just two times a week.
I'm thinking about, I think more so I'll have to just do one lower body day a week. And I was telling Ronnie, I think about this months ago, like my upper body doesn't really matter how much I like lift and impact my running. It's more just the calories burned is sometimes hard to replace.
Yeah.
But I can be sore as shit upper body wise. It doesn't bother me too much. But there is a mix where I probably would need to take a legit full on rest day. And maybe I can mix in still like a light run there, but yeah, just more like energy balance wise. I don't know.
That doesn't like affect like if you do a hard chest day, like I obviously know you have like pecs.
Yeah.
So like that doesn't like.
No, I don't feel too tight when I run. The only thing maybe is like if I went hard on deadlifts, which I know are more like leg, but still like the lower back. If the lower back's a little fatigued, maybe I'll feel it, or I might feel like I don't know, a little tight or sore in my shoulders, but nothing that like actually impacts me. It's more just like a little discomfort maybe.
Yeah.
But the hardest part is I feel like just eating enough to sustain that. Because like on a day where I do like let's say a lift and then a 10-mile run, 12-mile run, it's like I have to eat like 5,000-6,000 calories.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're constantly feeding yourself. And a lot of times it's just easy to forget to pack meals or pack dense foods,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think talking about you increasing your mileage or your output, also not the fact of even being sore. I think it's more so just fitting that running time within your day.
That's what I mean.
To like, it's either one or the other.
Yeah.
Either lift or run.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just tough because if I spend like let's say 4 hours a day or 5 hours like working out, you know, and then I actually have to like make money and make a living,
Yeah.
right? So then I spend like, let's say like 5 hours doing that. It only leaves like a few hours, like maybe like 2-3 hours of like time in the day where you're, you know, getting food, showering, spending time with family, things like that. It gets tough. You driving, you know, especially if I drive to a trail, and let's say it's like the Pocahontas State Trail, and I spend basically an hour and a half driving out there. Let's say I spend 2.5 hours, you know, running there. It's like what, 4 or 5 hours, whatever it is. Yeah, and so that's like a third of my day already gone, you know.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Yeah, it makes it hard to manage relationships.
Yeah, it
especially
does,
if you like
yeah.
have like a dog, you got a girlfriend, fiance,
Yeah,
wife, whatever.
yeah.
I know like a lot of people with like cycling, they get into it and they keep getting deeper and deeper into it, and they want to get more competitive. You start riding, you have to go out there and ride. Like this time of year is base build season, so you go ride in the mountains for 4 to 6 hours. You're gonna spend an hour driving there, hour and a half. You're looking at 11-hour day gone.
Yeah.
And then that person's gonna feel neglected, or your
Yeah,
dog's
they
gonna
gotta,
feel-
the dog one's tough. So if like, I feel like you need to have that spouse or that partner, to help with the dog or whatever you get going on. But then also like they have to understand and like support your like passion or vision. But you also have to like kind of give back that time, you know, and make sure it is quality time when you are with them. You know, or promise them, hey, like, you know, you might barely see me this day and this day, but I'll make it up. Like, we'll go out and do something like this day. You know, it's tough though.
Then on top of that, you're not really mentally there.
Yeah,
I've been there
Oh, yeah.
before, because you'd be like, you wouldn't think just going and like running or going sitting on a bike, you're gonna be like tired, but like mentally, when you get home,
As soon as I sit down, I'm fucking out.
they're gonna be like talking to you,
Lights
and you're
out.
just zoned out.
Mhm.
It's happened to me plenty of times.
Austin, are you asleep?
Nah,
No. Go to bed. All right.
we watching that show, honey? We
Yeah.
watching that show?
Yeah, she's watching the show. I'm usually just passed out. I'm just a body sitting there. Like most of the time when we're, you know, at the end of the day, it's just my eyes are done as soon as I sit down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's a tough one. And
So how'd you get involved with bodybuilding? So you finished cycling. You're like, hey, I've always wanted to kind of get a little bit into bodybuilding. What was like your first kind of like people you saw or influences that made you like want to get into the sport?
there was really no one.
You just wanted to like look
so-
big.
No, so it started like I lifted weights obviously to play sports, and I lifted weights when like motocross, and I lifted weights while cycling.
Mhm.
But like I always thought it was cool. Like I look at your body as like not something you should waste. It's basically like an art canvas.
Mhm.
Like your body is literally what you do to it is literally a reflection of yourself. So
Yeah.
if you're like this sculpted like Greek god, then like it's like shit. Like you're like literally like a Picasso paint. Like you're literally the
Yeah.
artist of your own body.
yeah.
So that's kind of how I see it. Like there was no like YouTube. Like I'm not like a C-Bum fanatic or like I know who
Mhm.
these guys are: Will Tennyson, Bradley Martin.
yeah.
But it was never like let me watch these guys and like oh I want to look like Brad or
Yeah.
whatever. Which I think that's a little bit like it's kind of like a disconnect I feel with like some people in the gym because there's some
Well, I don't mean it as far as I don't think people, and I know I don't, obviously you don't look at these people as if you want to have their physique, but sometimes I think people look at them as like an influence as far as like maybe the split they follow or
Right.
like the tips they do or how they perform certain exercises. So I didn't know if there was like certain people you jump to, you know, instantly or if there was classic bodybuilders you used to see and be like, oh yeah, like Lee Labrada or Dorian Yates or like, you know, Ronnie Coleman, or if it's more modern people you looked at. If you didn't look at the sport at all, but more the training aspect of it, you know what I mean?
No, not at all. I only know Ronnie Coleman from those names you just said. Like I
Yeah.
don't know who those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
don't
know Rich Piana?
Yeah.
I know Rich
God
Piana.
damn.
I know him from him, but
Yeah.
yeah,
You got to
so,
know him.
So yeah, it's like it's a weird like switch over, and like I don't know how that will. I don't know. It's just a
Yeah.
weird situation.
I think it's cool that you don't know these people and you're getting into it just off pure discipline and pure wanting to see what you can do yourself with it. Like you aren't trying to be somebody you aren't technically, because some people, they'll see these people and they want to be like them, and which is okay. That gets you like going, but then also you need like that inner discipline, that will or fire inside of you to like see what you can put out of yourself, you know. I think that's cool that you're kind of purely doing that.
It's for me. It's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not like.
I mean, you aren't on social media. You aren't
Yeah.
posting about it a bunch. I mean,
Yeah.
you
I
post
post
here and there,
about it,
but like you aren't like trying to, be something you aren't.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
And, like I was talking to someone the other day about social media, and they're oh, why don't you like make like more stuff? And I'm just like, I don't know. There's so many other people out there doing it. Like to me, it's like it's cool to document the process, but at the end of the day, the end product, that's all that matters to me, and that's winning.
I mean, I think a ton of people, and who knows, maybe I fall into the category a little bit. A lot of people try to, I guess, post more than they actually do the work,
Right.
I guess, per se. Which, I mean, it's every now and then it's cool to, like, post a PR, post, like, progress that you've been achieving with, whether it's your runs, your lifts, whatever, your body. But I think a lot of people live through, like, the phone instead of just being consistent.
Yeah, and to your point, Ronnie, there is, I feel like, a sense of everyone's like a dime a dozen on Instagram at this point, especially now more than there was even just 1 year ago, 2 years ago. And I think in a dream world where there wasn't money or influence or something to gain through social media, I wouldn't post like any of my lifts. I certainly wouldn't be setting up for photos and things like that. But it is one of those things, at least, not connected to like your own like perspective of what you're doing. But I know on my end, like sometimes I don't feel like, setting up for videos or photos or whatever. But it's just like one of those things now that's just so common. And since there is a benefit to gain from it, it can easily happen. But it is nice to, again, like you said, document the progress. I do know what you mean though, as far as the finished product is really like what matters. But as you mentioned though, with it being a sculpture and your body is a sculpture, there really is no end result, especially with bodybuilding. Your physique can change from morning to night for within a couple of weeks, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing like a 12-week cut. So it's good to see, the change over time, even if it is, like you post, these posing videos every couple of weeks, right? Now, you send them to your coach all the time, and it's cool to see, you don't see a ton really week to week at all. You barely see some month to month, but then you look at, 6 months ago, and the changes really start to reveal themselves, and it's cool to see.
Right. Yeah, I know. That's exactly. Like, I have like 10 million videos, photos of myself on my phone. I have to send progress check-ins every Friday. But, like, if you look at week one, I guess it started 9 weeks ago. Coming from cycling, I was super cut. I almost feel like a fatty now.
Yeah.
Like, I still have, like, core. But it's like you can see the growth.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was showing someone the other day, and they're like, "Oh, you look so much better." And the one where you're like ripped, and I'm like, "Oh, thanks, asshole." But like what they don't like look at, so they're not looking at like
people look at everything's different.
Yeah. Like they're looking at how cut you are back then compared to like, oh, you're putting on muscle tissue.
Well, it's easier to look bigger when you're leaner too. Like when I was leaner for a show, I was $164. Basically getting on stage, and I might look bigger in some areas or more cut up or better. But, my arms were like the size of like my forearms almost. They're not that bad, but I was noticeably like smaller. I feel like I couldn't, like if I was standing beside Maddie, I don't feel like someone would be like, "Oh, look at that dude with her," right? So like I'd like to be a little bit beefier, especially like, when I'm not training for something like that. But yeah, the best thing I ever did, I think, with fitness in the beginning was take consistent progress photos. And since the day I basically started free weight training in like June 2014. So part of it too is just seeing myself through like puberty and growing up. But I have, I guess, going back 7.5 years now, every single month, taking the same photos and poses in like the bathroom and seeing, thousands like of photos at this point that I could like flip through and just seeing the small changes. But then if I look at, let's say, January 2015 to January 2020, it's interesting seeing it. And then also looking back, like through the pandemic, like change of training from like home training back to a real gym. It's really cool. So like those progress photos, that's one of the big things I used to tell a lot of my clients when I took like a lot more online clients, is just take photos like as soon as you can, because you're going to want to look back either for financial reasons to like promote yourself, or just pride reasons to be like, yeah, this is where I was at,
Everybody, I'm definitely that. Your own worst critic. You feel like you haven't been making enough progress, but it takes that picture to be able to look back and be like, damn, no, progress wasn't.
And a lot of times you don't want to like take the photo. You're like, there's nothing for me to look at here, until I get to X physique, right? Until I get on stage. But it's nice to have more photos and not want to use them or show them or look at them, than want to have seen kind of the beginning.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
You definitely regret.
And do y'all like measure every week?
I
measure.
mentioned that third leg. Yeah.
No, I don't.
I used to every month, and I only did that like the past like 3 years, but the past like 8 months or so I've been off that. Once we moved into the gym, I kept a lot of habits of writing down every workout and writing down my monthly measurements, but I got real lazy about it a couple of months ago, like I said, and just have kind of fallen out the habit of writing down, with exercises and weights for each workout and all that stuff, just because, it only takes like 2 minutes writing it down, but sometimes it's like brushing your teeth. Sometimes it's late at night, you're tired, you're just like, fuck it,
Yeah, no, I get that. But I feel like you're like, when you measure, I measure every Monday.
Yeah.
When you're like chasing those like hundredths of an inch.
Yeah.
Like it really starts adding up over time. Instead of like, you're like, oh, my arms grow a 1/10 of an inch. And then you can see like, oh, my left calf is 2/10 bigger than my right and stuff like that. It's just a cool
I feel like
process
you
to me.
probably stress the tiny imbalances.
Yeah, you're
so
a numbers
much.
guy for sure.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'll sit there and like analyze and be like, oh,
I told you though, I think I told you this a while ago. I was like, bro, if it's less than half-inch difference, don't even, stress it, because like my right arm, I can train my left as much as I want to. Actually, they're like pretty even now, but for the longest time, they weren't. They were like a half-inch difference, but like you're not really gonna notice it or see it too much. It has to be dramatic, especially when it comes to like subjective eye on stage, to notice it.
I don't know. I know they're
good
probably
to
not
know,
accurate,
though.
but they're like those in-body scanners. I don't know if you all ever use them. I
Ever
like
use
those. They might not be right, but I like it because they show like the
And it's
weight.
consistent.
It's
right?
consistent, so you can all like. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if. It's
Where do you get that
wrong.
done?
Yeah, where did I get it done? I haven't gotten it done in a long time. It used to be like Complete Nutrition in Charlottesville used to have one.
Yeah, I know AmFam used to have one, and when they had it at that location, I would use it for free.
Yeah.
Just-
Yeah, I know. Sorry, fellas, I got pee again.
No,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
for it, dude.
Go
You
ahead.
gotta apologize. Just you and me. Pause
Yeah.
it.
So I woke up plenty early, packed my meals last night, got meals prepped for the week, blah blah blah.
Slept through alarm.
No,
Oh.
woke up 3:45
Yeah.
on the dot. I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna crush today. I'm gonna film that workout, have shit done before I even start my day at 6."
Seemed like something bothered you this morning. What happened?
I'm on the way here and I get a Google alert or like reminder. I'm like, "You train Ryan training at 6 a.m."
Oh, you thought you were gonna work out at
and
6.
I'm so glad I didn't start drinking pre-workout because I
Oh.
was gonna do that on the ride here.
Yeah.
And I was like, motherfucker. Not that, like, I did know. I had it on the book,
You
so
knew,
obviously I
yeah.
knew, but I forgot
Forgot,
last
yeah.
night. So I was, like,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of, like, ticked off because I knew that we were going to try and do the podcast
Yeah.
at some point. And Ronnie was like, hey, I'll be there at 9:30.
So honestly, I probably helped you.
Well, you did because I was, it's just limbo. And anyways, knocked it out. Filmed a pretty good workout. So got it done. But yeah, this morning just, I don't know how you feel about it, but man, once one thing, like, especially with the morning stacked like it was, like, once one thing's
I don't
off,
like doing work the first thing in the morning. Like,
don't
like
either.
I like getting the workout done because otherwise I'm thinking about work during the workout. or
well, I
other
did
things
feel like
to
I was
do, yeah.
rushed. Not for the show because
Yeah.
we were trying to do the show right after the workout, but like I always do feel rushed if I'm doing it in the middle of the day. I'm like, man, I shouldn't probably be working. I shouldn't be like, I should be doing other shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway,
Anyway,
the P-Man's back.
P-Man.
Mr. P-Bye.
Next time, just fill this can up, brother.
I know. Yeah, I know. I just tape it down.
Under the table.
So, back into the bodybuilding thing, what are your current goals? And you mentioned, doing a show within like 2.5 years. It's good that you like give yourself that window because I think the biggest thing that people make the mistake, and we talked about it with Miles only
Yep.
2 weeks ago,
Jump straight into
is
that shit.
people just jump in too quick before they develop their physique. And they might get lean, they might get on stage, but they have nothing really to show. They're mostly skeleton and bones because they haven't taken the time to build up muscle, which especially naturally takes a really long time.
Yes.
yeah. All right.
So go
Yeah.
ahead, answer.
Yeah, I was
know
gonna
it's a
say. So
ramble.
like, I work with the coach Ray Baker out of Destination Dallas. He works with like Tony Tavares and I forget the other.
I didn't
dude.
know he was in Destination Dallas.
Yeah, he's one of the trainers at Destination Dallas. Yeah,
I'd love to lift at that gym one day.
yeah. looks
Haven't
like
had a
an
reason
awesome
to go to
gym.
Dallas, yeah.
Yeah, but
Didn't Branch Bourne train there?
Yeah, that's the one that's literally, I think, Gasp, like, rents, like, warehouse space within it, or they're connected, or they're
Kind of like what
owned,
we
or-
do here.
Kind of, sort of something, yeah. We're on the same level.
but yeah, so I started working with him from early on. I interviewed a bunch of coaches, and I think we pretty much came up with a plan. I told him, I was like, well, I don't want to step on stage till like we're like ready to go win. So like, our goals right now is just putting on tissue and like lagging body parts. Like I don't really have lats. Like the next thing we're
Is
gonna
it
work on
like a
chest.
basically perma bulk until you get to a point where you put on probably too much excess fat? Or
We play with my diet a lot. Like when I
Is there-
started, I was 165 pounds coming out of cycling. This
Yeah.
morning I weighed and I was like 187.
so it's all like continuing up basically
yeah, it's like
until
basically
you
when I
really
start looking,
need to.
yeah,
drop.
when I start looking fat, we'll cut the diet back a little bit.
Yeah.
And like we might like try it, but I know like right now I forget what division I am. I'm like new to this. I think it's like open or C or D. I don't remember what it's called.
don't
know.
Basically,
Sure.
you can be 5'9" to 5'11".
Yeah, OCB. Okay, you're doing OCB because
He's doing OCB.
they do it on height,
Well, it's tight and weight.
and weight.
I think
yeah.
NPC does that
Yeah, they
too.
do. I
NPC
think
is
they
only
do.
weight. You could be because I was competing against guys.
Then
who were
why
like
does
3
C-Bum
foot
care
tall.
about
Classic is height,
I am classic.
but open bodybuilding. Oh, you're doing
I'm
classic.
doing classic physique.
Okay, so it's classic. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So with NPC or OCB?
I think what's going to end up happening is I think I'm going to use, is it OBC or OCB?
OCB.
I think we're going to use OCB as like a first show, and then
Yeah.
2 weeks later we're going to go hit like an NPC show. I think
Okay.
that's how we're going to do it. But
That's
you
smart,
can weigh
yeah.
up to 211. So I don't really want to plan on like doing this until I can step on stage at 5'11", 211 pounds.
I was about to ask that because I was like, all right, so you are giving yourself some time, but like, is there
211
a goal weight?
lean?
211 lean.
Let him hit it.
I don't really when I step on stage, other than like I will go down to Texas and work with. He's a pretty good poser. Like he's got
Yeah.
guys posing at like Olympia and at like the Arnold. They got invited this year. I will go to Dallas or wherever. We'll work on posing, and like I pretty much want to win open my first show. Will it happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
But novice, like I plan to do like novice, beginner, however it works, and I just plan to do them all.
Yeah.
And with how the cookies crumble, they crumble. But I just don't. I don't want. I was talking to him. I don't want to cut just to cut. Like I can go up there and look like a string bean at the end of
Yeah.
the day. And if I win, who cares if I win a medal at some random OBC
Yeah,
show? But if
that's
I
how
win
I feel,
5
yeah.
medals, then we're going somewhere.
Yeah. So you have some roundabout goal weight. You want to come at the top of your class,
Yes.
obviously.
Right.
So you're planning that out. When you were talking with them about like getting to that goal, was the option of drugs brought up at all?
Yeah, I'm gonna do this 100% natural.
Okay.
Natural meaning like I'm not taking like testosterone.
Any hormone.
Yeah, any hormone.
Because my only thing, if I'm being honest, is getting over. I don't think you can tell me if you know anyone else. I don't really know anyone around our height over 200 pounds natural that's lean.
I'm sure
Especially
there's people
show-
out there. I don't
show
know anybody though.
presence.
I mean, 200 or 2. That's definitely a hefty weight, but
Yeah.
it could be doable. But I don't know if it the time or whatever. I'm sure it's possible.
The horizon could change too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, because like I don't know.
And
when
I'm
we're
not
gonna
trying to
do
be a
it.
Debbie Downer.
No,
I'm just like
no, I don't know
it's
when
fine.
we'll hit it because I've gone to 160 from
Yeah.
165 to 187 in literally 9 weeks, 10
Yeah.
weeks. So like, when am I going to plateau at like 190? I don't know. But if I
Yeah.
do plateau, we'll just keep throwing more food.
Yeah,
Change
more
the
food,
training.
and then I think also, I think you can make a 190 physique look like it's over 200 pounds. or,
Yeah,
you know,
that's a thing.
definitely
where
know
you
because
go
there's a
with
lot
that.
of I don't know. At least I don't want to sound like it's like drugs or nothing, but like definitely most of the natural shows you don't see a ton of people that are like actually lean, probably above 200.
I don't. Even some. I mean, what was like Doug Miller and remember that other guy that they had Jay something? Remember that dude we were talking about that they had compete? Let me see
I
if
don't
I
know
can
what
find him.
Doug.
But I think
I mean,
Doug was
he's
what
a
190
natural, I think he
yeah,
is.
he's
I think he-
natural.
I think he competes at like high to mid 190s,
yeah.
and he's
And so
probably
that'd be
a little
like-
shorter than me.
That'd be like, yeah, it'd be like another like 15 pounds of
But it's definitely workable. You know, I think it's all part of the process. I think you'll get to a point to where you'll feel like, oh, this is where I need to be sitting because
yeah.
200.
It's I mean, it changes like as you're putting on weight. You know, you see, okay, what does that look like on me?
The
Like, what do I
the
look like at
composition of it.
190?
Right.
What do I look at 200? And you know, and that changes every time. Like what I look now at like 184ish is way different than what I looked like 2-3 years ago, like 180. So it definitely, you know, is different on everybody. Everyone's different, you know, with what that, you know, weight on them. So
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, that's why the time people ask me like, oh, when are you going to do a show? I'm like, I don't know when the body's ready.
yeah,
Like,
Especially if you're wanting to go in and win,
yeah.
you should.
Yeah.
It's not something you rush. You just know when you're ready. Like there's no like, oh, in exactly 2 years I'll be ready. It could take longer, could take less. You know, you
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, I think at like 2 years, I'd consider stepping on an OCB show.
And I think that's good. And I think the fact that you have a coach having outside eyes will will help you not be delusional about, oh, I'm ready, or like, oh, I look huge, or I look great, or whatever.
Yeah,
He'll tell you.
He's got plenty of other clients that are much bigger than me.
Well, I'm sure, and
Slap me
plus,
down.
hopefully, you're paying him for his honesty. He'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, dude, you are not ready. Let's keep
Yeah,
going, or
yeah.
blah blah blah, or vice versa.
Greatest natural of all time.
He's
Yeah.
natural. Natural.
That's what we believe.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't
know.
We don't know.
We never know. We'll never know. But yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm focusing on right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can start talking about your cycling if you'd like.
Of course. No. I mean, I definitely want to dive into everything, but with your show, or your, obviously your journey to OCB and then NPC probably right after that, do you, like, if things go as planned, do you plan on pursuing it as far as you can, or you just want to see how far you can take it and sort of bounce around to something else? Or
I mean, we'll see what happens. Like,
Yeah.
I never go into cycling like, oh, I'm going to take it to this level and I'm going to cut the cord.
Gotcha.
Like, I still plan to go back and get me a Leadville buckle. Like, that's still one of my goals.
Yeah.
Like, you only got to go 12 hours. I'd like to get the big one at 9. But if I'm going to train for it from being 220 pounds, let's be real, I'm right not going 9 hours at Leadville. So
Unless you're Nick Bear. Fucking crush it.
I need a supplement company that I can just work out all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for Bear, that's a thing. Like, he's built his company to the point now where he doesn't really have to work. It's on auto cruise.
Yeah, he's at the point where, and I was listening to a book that was trying to basically get you to this point. It's very different for, my business, and, it's more applicable once you have, probably 7-figure or more business. But basically it was talking about getting to the point where the only work you're doing is, I was talking about, the 4 Ds of business, and the last one was, man, I don't even fucking remember it. But the point is, it was talking about basically he's just the visionary.
Yeah.
He's not making labels. He's not packing order. He's not doing any of that. He's basically just coming up with the ideas and letting other people run with it.
For sure. I think
Yeah.
once you get to a size, I think you should
Yeah,
delegate.
100%.
You pay
Yeah.
people to be the
Yeah.
best at design. You pay the person to be best at shipping,
Yeah.
If
Oh,
you-
that's what it was. D for design. Yeah. And
okay.
everyone else is, the other people are doing the decisions. The other people are doing the delegating. And the other, D, whatever that is. So
Yeah. Because I can see,
doing this last
trying
one.
to
There,
spread.
it's all coming to
I
me.
mean, I am nowhere near 7 figures, but just trying to
Yeah.
spread myself across everything right now can be, a
Tough.
little tough, or some days overwhelming. So it's definitely man, finding the best in those positions and delegating it to those people would definitely be the end goal. You're working, just coming in, making sure that the rails or the trains
Yeah.
on the track, and then
Bouncing.
Bouncing.
You want to go ride your bike?
or
you
just
wanna
trying
go
to
live?
make more influence on the side or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's got a camera crew that follows him every day, all hours of the day. Like,
It's just like a big flywheel, kind of.
Yeah.
It's just spinning, and the more footage and content you throw at it, the more it's just going to keep spinning faster and faster, and just pick up more revenue and
yeah, you just keep on keeping on, and before you know it,
ripping.
yeah,
Next thing you know, he's Bezos. No, I'm just
he
kidding.
ain't got no chance of being Bezos.
Nah, I'm just messing. But yeah, so I guess we can switch gears to me a little bit. So you've been helping me out with cycling. I guess give a quick little backstory for people that might be checking in
Yeah.
that know a little bit of you and wanted to check out the show. Is I did a transformation contest over the summer, and it was a way to sort of get me mentally disciplined, to having some structure back into my day, give me a challenge, because I was just coming in. Some days I still do this, coming in and going through the motions with training, maybe not giving it my all, or just hitting some lifts and just moseying through the day, feeling purposeless. Unpurposed. I don't know what the word is for that. I'm not very smart.
You were a loser.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I had like purpose. I guess I
Yeah.
was just going through the day.
Didn't
not
have
feeling,
a tank going through the motions.
Yeah. So did this transformation contest, and for a way for me to lose as much weight as I quickly could within the 5 weeks. I think it was 5.5 weeks that I did it. I did a bunch of cardio, obviously. So I would get on the bike, because I always hated the treadmill. I could do it. I always hated the stair mill. I could do it though, and I was like, well, let me try the bike. Bike's very low impact, and I could just get on it and just bust for miles and feel pretty good after it, not feel wrecked. And did that, was cranking out miles over the time, just a stationary bike here in the gym. And once that goal was coming to an end, I remember getting on a show with Brock, and he was like, well, what's the next goal? And I was like, well, shit, I guess I need to start thinking about that. And he mentioned he was running out at the Virginia Capitol Trail, and he was like, yeah, I'm running X amount of miles out there. And I asked him how long it was, and he was like, oh, I think it's like 50 miles out, 50 miles back.
Right.
So next thing you know, I was like, I guess I'm going to ride the fucking trail. Century ride. And I know for some that's not a lot, but for me coming from a bodybuilding and not so much of a cardio aspect or background, it was a big feat. And I just borrowed my brother's bike just to get the goal going, and made the decisions to just get out there and hit the streets. So
yeah, a lot of it starts from just doing something.
Yeah, because I could have made excuses, I didn't have a bike or blah blah blah, but I found ways to just get it going, figure it out.
I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So just did it, even though who knows how far I'll take it. Met you came by the gym, and I realized that you were pretty big into biking with your past and whatnot, and knew a little thing or two. So I got your advices on how to sort of structure my days around cycling and building up some conditioning with my legs, because I was able to just ride, but I didn't have any intent with that. I was just going out there and just riding every day, just with no purpose.
As hard as you can.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like, let me see if I can go a little further today. Which I guess gets you somewhere, but not being smart. So lately, I just did my first 50-mile ride.
Yep.
Got my dick kicked in with that. Could have been a little nutrition, timing, and things on my back end that I don't think I followed suit with your protocol
at all.
But I got it done. And after that, it took a wind out of my sails a little bit, because I told myself I was going to ride the 100 before December 23rd.
Right.
That's coming up pretty quick, and I know I'm not doing that
next weekend, right?
Yeah.
We like to call Austin the meathead of cycling.
Yeah. Well, I like to think I can just nut things out. Like I can just pull my balls out and just do it, gung ho. But
you don't want your balls on the table for 10 hours, though.
No.
Yeah. Just getting whack.
Whack.
Yeah.
How many times can we whack them until they?
Yeah. They can take a beating.
Yeah.
But anyways, so we're taking a step back, realizing that I'm probably going to need to train throughout winter.
Right.
A little bit and get the mileage up, conditioning, and go for a 50 here soon again, make it a little bit more comfortable, and continue to tear up.
Yeah.
But with that being said, after the 100-mile ride, I don't know what else the goals would be. But
200.
Nah. Well, who knows? I can't say no, but
never say never.
Real race.
That's
Real
what
race,
we
that
did
could
talk
be it.
about. So I bought a road bike. It's almost as old as me. But bought a road bike, which helped
Is it
out a lot.
actually that old?
Yeah.
It's 21, 22 years old.
I think it's
shit.
96
Yeah.
or 97.
Oh,
It's
I
not
didn't
that
know
old,
that.
but it's almost as old as me. I was born in
25.
94.
But I was doing it all on a mauntain bike, trail bike, which I thought was kicking ass back then. But realizing how heavy those things are, it's crazy the world of difference.
And you're dealing with a bigger tire now. That's
Yeah.
like a 26. You're riding on the 700C now.
We rolling.
Yeah, 2 miles an hour. Easy.
Yeah, keep it rolling. But yeah, so I'm excited to continue training and see how far I can push it and see if I can get a respectable time. That's my main thing, because I think we both agreed that I could probably nut out that 100-mile ride and just take all day. But really training for it, trying to be competitive for myself and see if I can put out my best time and be respectable with it. And then maybe go into a real race or a triathlon of some sort, a small one.
I'm telling you, what we need to do is we all need to commit to a triathlon. Like the
Who's swimming, though?
I'm not
It's
swimming, dude.
fine. It's only, how far could it be?
I'm not swimming.
We'll wear floaties. I don't care if we get disqualified.
No, I'm not swimming, dog.
He's afraid something might get his feet,
Yeah.
get his little ding dong,
Get me.
his
Yeah.
little dingling.
And that thing's swinging.
It's swinging.
It floats.
You don't even need a floaty.
Uh-huh. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been going well so far, and I think the help with you has been great. So I'm excited to keep pushing it and seeing what I do. Because I think with the brand of Gym Flow, I don't want it to be just based around bodybuilding. I want to be just all around athletes just want to push their best and keep things moving forward, whether it be changing goals or pivoting or being so much of a hybrid athlete, somebody that can do a little bit of everything and just get their most out of what they're doing.
Right. No, that's definitely a good way to look at it too.
Yeah. So I'm excited to keep dabbling with little things like this, and I don't know. I think some people they let themselves fall into a box, which I did for a while. I was like, no, I don't do cardio. I'm a bodybuilder. Oh, blah blah blah. But it's like, are you really that serious of a bodybuilder? Or
That's what I came
Are you really a
down to.
bodybuilder at heart, or you just like to lift? Which I mean, deep down, I train like a bodybuilder. I love the pumps. I love chasing, sculpting the body.
Right.
But it's like, do I need to just box myself in and not try anything else?
Yeah, the benefit of boxing yourself into like one singular thing and never deviating isn't really worth it unless, to Ronnie's extent, you are fully all in competitive to it. Giving yourself a little bit of freedom is okay. It's kind of like, unless you're doing a show, right? you don't need to be insanely dialed into your diet because the small deviations in the grand scheme of things won't matter. So, and the same deal with training, I've added in a ton of running, I've done some different things lifting wise, and I'm still able to get the same benefits of size and strength, things like that, while switching things up, I think, I don't know if people are scared of doing something different because they can't tie themselves to one specific culture or thing. Or, I don't know what it is.
I think people are afraid of losing. No one wants to be a loser. Like, I think, like, if you
But not everyone's winning. I mean, I wasn't winning at bodybuilding.
No, but I feel like when people go into stuff, like, when you go into a competition, you don't want to finish last.
Oh, so, like, they're too afraid to try something new because they might lose?
People these days are too afraid of failing. They never try.
That's true.
Because think about it. You want to start. Everyone talks about these business ideas. Everyone wants to make money, but why are people settling and not starting their own business? Because they like comfort. They don't like leaving their comfort zone.
Yeah, I know. To paraphrase. To paraphrase this reel I threw up that Joe Rogan had posted Sunday of a really old podcast. It's really good with I'm gonna butcher his name. I think it's Novel Rucketant? I don't remember what it is. Anyway, you can find it later. But point is, he talks about how, let's say you pick up a hobby or a skill, and the analogy is, you're climbing up this mountain. You get 2/3 of the way up and realize this is as high as I can go on this mountain, This is like my peak of competitiveness. And then nobody wants to go start at the bottom of the mountain with a new skill or task and go up all the way up the mountain again just to maybe get to the top, maybe just get 1/3 of the way up, whatever it is. So a lot of times people are scared to start from the bottom, start something new, because they're looking up.
It's a lot of hard work.
And they realize how far they got to go. I'm doing it now. I'm looking up at the mountain of running and being like, I put in all this work for like a year, and I'm still like at the beginner level. And there's some people that their starting level is where I'm at after a year of training. And so it just kind of sucks. But, there's other people with lifting, right, where they pick up muscle very quickly. And maybe it took me 3 years to get the physique they have in like 1 year. So it's, different genetics, different people, different backgrounds, But, either way, I think it's hard for people and myself to look up at that mountain that is a certain level or skill or whatever and realize there's long way to go.
No, go ahead.
No, well, I couldn't agree more with that, because after that 50-mile ride, I told you, I was like, dude, why the fuck am I working so hard? And that 50-mile just kicked my ass. There's no way I'm doing 100. Why am I training so hard? Like, I might as well just go through the motions. I almost like caught myself wanting to just be like, oh, fuck it, I'll ride when I can. Why? Like, damn, looking up that hill of 100, that was tough.
Man.
But looking back after I had that like woe is me party for like 5 to 7 days, I look back and I think something that keeps me going back to the bike or getting excited to do it, even though I got my ass handed to me that one day, is just the unknown of like where it's going to take me and what opportunities it's going to open up. Whether I meet somebody or do this race or learn myself a little bit more, I look forward to like the little bit of growth that I might get out of it in some certain way, whether it's mental, physical, or like I said, an opportunity of a relationship that pops up from it.
I mean, you can look at it kind of like a book too. You're writing your book on your life.
Yeah,
like
sure.
You're literally like you're running, you're biking.
It's like I'm the Forrest Gump of
it's like
of bike riding.
It's just like your chapter, like not like to be like.
I'm just gonna start riding.
Yeah, no, but like when you're like 50 years old, like you don't want to live like a boring life.
Yeah, I do look back and like being like, man, I boxed myself in, like I mentioned earlier, and just I was too scared to try something new.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, you don't want to look back like unless you're like a professional bodybuilder, it's your career. You should get out and experience these things.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that's one reason why I've kind of like hopped around things is because like, yeah, it's cool to do it, but at the end of the day, there's more to life than
when you're adding layers to your life. I think the biggest thing, and we've spoken about it on in the past, is just whether you don't know where the next passion or whatever in life is. I think forcing yourself to continually try a new sport, try a new hobby, try something new. Like, I didn't know I'd be that into coffee until I saw my friend have an AeroPress, and I was like, huh, that's kind of cool. I was like, maybe I could buy one of those. Then I got the AeroPress, and I was like, huh, what does this public cupping at Blanchard's. I guess they're just trying different coffees in a cup. I go there, and it's a totally different, it's around a table. You're smelling different coffees, and they kind of steep them, and it's this whole process. And I'm like, wow, there's this whole world of specialty coffee. And then you get into that, and next thing you know, you're trying different bags, different homebrew methods, and it becomes a passion. And it never would have started unless I just like took that leap of faith and tried something, And even if I started running and I was like, this isn't really for me, I don't really enjoy this, I can try something else, So I feel like so many people. No, go ahead.
No, so even on top of that, like doing these things is going to enrich your life because you're going to make new friends.
You make new friends. You add different skills that you've never had before. Like now, although limited, the background knowledge I have of endurance and running now has flourished this relationship with you. I have an understanding of different stuff that other athletes are going through. I understand different terms and training principles and all this stuff, all because I tried something new. I absorbed it. And, like you mentioned, every different hobby or vacation or these different things, it doesn't just bring along the direct benefit of the actual task or whatever it is itself, but it's also giving you experiences, relationships, skills, knowledge, all these different things that you can just take away and, like you said, enrich your life.
Right, and then you're not like whoever you met making coffee, you might go drink wine with one day, or coffee, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, you might go out with them one day and find out they have another hobby.
Well, 100%.
I mean, next thing you know, you're trying something else.
Yeah, I'm not super close to with them, but we're friends on Instagram. We follow each other. That's something. But guy named John at Blanchard's, he's like the head of their education or whatever.
Is that John Kruger?
Yeah, Kruger.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say.
Cutaway.
Yeah, because he's big, or I don't know how big he is into cycling, but I think
big.
He's big.
Yeah, I mean, he's like.
Hey, I see he's competed.
He races Bryan Park for the team Cutaway team. They're pretty dominant, like road cycling crit team.
Anyway, he's pretty beast with that. And sometimes I'll see he'll just mix in some cross training with running, and I'm like, fuck, he's fast, and things like that. But skinnier dude, but then I'm sure he can look at like my lifting, because I know he would dabble in some lifting a little bit like a few years ago, and I'm sure he would look at me and be like, damn, I have a ways to go, right, to get to that lifting. So it's like you said, everything like leads to a different road. But if you're just kind of doing laps and loops of the same like thing in your life, you're not gonna take advantage of what is life.
You're not growing as a person either.
Yeah.
Like I feel like once you just start getting into a rhythm, you kind of stop living. Like you like, because you're always in the same circle. You're not meeting new people. You're not having new experiences.
Well, and you're scared of critique from other people. I mean,
that too.
A lot of people that on Instagram, no one comments and says, we don't care about your running. But for fucking sure, there's people sharing my stuff or commenting or talking behind my back that are like, what is he doing? Like, why is he running? Like, he's not even good at it or whatever. But you can't, live your life based off what other people think you should be doing or what your interest should be, And so you have to realize that the value you're getting out of this new task, whether it might be a lonely path for you, you'll meet new people, like you said, and it'll be worth it in the long run.
Yeah. I think a big thing for me personally, and some people may relate to it, is I was dead tired of just being the same person. I realized that so many decisions that I make throughout the day or throughout the week or with food, nutrition, or business, or just work, I just was like, I didn't want to confront being a little uncomfortable, staying a little bit extra, coming here a little earlier to work out, knocking my workouts out before work, instead of complaining about not having time during the day, which all, things happen. Yeah. But it's just, I think I was tired of just settling, just being okay with what I had. Mm-hmm. And I think some people, that's okay, to have your normal thing. But if you want more, you're going to have to get uncomfortable. You're going to have to, get outside of your box.
Yeah, if you want more, you have to do more. And I saw a reel from, I think you know who he is because he's been on Andy's show, like Ed Milet.
Yeah.
Or Milet or whatever. And he was saying, like, how many times do you put yourself in uncomfortable situations each day? Like, how many you put those in, like, a week or whatever. And it is as simple as that. Like, how often are you challenging yourself to do something difficult or uncomfortable? Because if you're never, it is literally as simple as that. If you never put yourself in difficult situations, you won't grow. It's the same principles that apply in like training, right? If you don't have progressive overload, if you're not pushing for the extra rep, you keep doing the same exact weight, the same exact reps each week, your body has no reason to respond or grow.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the simple, basic, objective things you can look at in training, whether it's lifting or endurance, you can apply to life because it really is as simple as that. And I feel like sometimes people act like life's very different. Oh, it's complicated. It's different variables. Sure, but at the end of the day, you know, it is as simple as you have to get uncomfortable and do more, like you said, to be more, to build more.
Also, I think in the back end, I'd feel very unfulfilled. Like I would, at the end of the day, it's like, damn, what am I doing? I don't like. Not that I was unhappy like with my life and stuff like that, like depression, but it's like I felt like I had nothing going on. I'm like, why do I feel like shit about myself? It's not because I was fat or, you know, depressed or something like that. It's just I didn't have anything to aim for, I guess, you know? So I think me getting, you know, jumping into things that I don't know anything about with cycling or the Airbnb property or whatever, I'm just doing it. And when I do it, it makes me feel more alive than anything else. You know, it's like, damn.
Well, I'm sure you felt that way when you quit working for like a gym and you started personal training for yourself, and then moving into this space put good pressure on you to move the business forward and make better decisions.
Because we could have stayed in my mom's extra bedroom and be comfortable. Yeah. But
you're not going to leap from the bedroom to a massive warehouse, right? No. It has to be these steps, and you have to take those steps to get to those miles. You know?
100%.
Yeah.
With that being said, man, what'd you train today?
He trained Coors Light and chest.
Coors Light and chest.
Yeah.
No, chest and back. It was.
What type of split have you been on?
It's a weird one.
It's a really weird one. So like Ray just sent me over workouts.
Doing toes and ankles.
Yeah, toes and ankles, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So yeah, like I do. Usually it's like a chest, or sorry, what's it called? A push-pull split superset with legs every other week.
He does a lot of supersets, and I know some people like that.
Yeah.
I feel like I never superset anything for legs.
Never legs.
Never legs.
Oh, I do.
And then some people will like superset. Like I've told a couple people, like, oh, we're gonna do chest and back today, and they're like, oh, like you superset chest and back. I'm like, no. I was like, no, don't do that. Like I feel like that's a lot to mix if I'm doing like a barbell row and then go into a chest press. Like I get it, you're working like some opposing muscles, but to me, it's not really the same as mixing in curls and let's say skull crushers. Yeah. It's a lot more taxing. I mean, a chest movement like a bench press or even a shoulder press merged with like, you know, like a dumbbell row, both are fairly heavy and taxing, you know?
Yeah, so I've been doing like those superset splits and we do isolations the week after and we keep flipping back and forth. And it like every week's a little bit different. Like I don't like digging into the science of that kind of thing. Like I just like to let him work his
I don't either.
That's why you pay him.
That's why I pay him. Like I got the Arnold book and Arnold book made sense, but I don't know. When I started cycling, I took a year and a half without a coach, and I just felt like if I would have just used a coach from the straight out, like I would have been light years.
You need
ahead.
the Book of Austin. That's
the Book of Austin.
Yeah.
What WWAD?
School of Hard Knocks. Yeah.
So yeah, like the splits are a little weird. Everyone that seems like I like talk to people into working out with me pretty often. They always like come in, they're kind of like skeptical.
Yeah.
And always like a day or two after, they're like, "Oh, I'm kind of sore."
Yeah.
Like,
well, the amount of reps you told me, I probably wouldn't work out with you either.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like the last few weeks on isolations have been 25 to 30 reps, and they're supposed to be.
I
heavy.
Fall asleep mid-set.
I need an oxygen tank,
and it's 4 sets, or it's 2 warm-ups and a 4 set and 4.
What are you doing 20 or 30 reps with?
Like everything. Like,
squats and
usually legs are like lower. They're like 12 to 15.
Okay.
But like any like chest movement or shoulder movement or bicep movement, tricep movement, and they're heavy. So it's like start as heavy as you can, do as many as you can, drop weight, go as many as you can.
So it's like a drop set. It's not like with the same weight. Or is it like rest pause training? You know what I mean?
No, it's literally like, so if I was going to do like chest, like if I was going to do flat bench, it'd start like my maximum is about 100. I can do 100, 110 for like one. Yeah. So I'd start with like 70, 75, go 7, drop to 70 or 65, go however many I can go and just keep going until I get to 28, 30.
Okay, so you're pyramiding down though.
Yeah, it's pyramiding down, so it's kind of
like
a
it's all
set.
Pushed into one set, so it is like a drop set.
So it isn't doing like 70s for 30.
Dude, this guy's like, I'm like, oh, it's like a drop set. He's like, no. I start with one weight and then I work down the weight. I'm like, so a drop set? No, it's different.
I feel like a drop set is like you know what you're going to do. Like I'm going to do curls for 30, then I'm going to go to 25, then 20. Like this isn't like if I go the first set and I go 30 for 12, I have to do 18 more reps. I would just drop to whatever. But that's not saying the next set I'm
Yeah,
going to do 30
it's
for
a
12.
it's a little different as
Yeah.
far as target, but to a simple point, it still drops.
Okay.
Brock wins.
Yeah, Brock wins. Rolling.
But, yeah, Brock wins.
Hit the gap.
But no,
Yeah.
like I just don't feel like yes, it's a drop set, but it's not like a traditional.
Yeah, it's
like,
not
kind of thing.
traditional
If I
drop
start
set,
with
yeah.
70s and I go for 30 and I go for 30, then I should obviously.
I
move
never
up.
read the book Bodybuilding Encyclopedia,
Yeah.
haven't
but
either.
I feel like Arnold, I almost called him Ronnie. Arnold back in the day was very famous for doing the push pull, like doing chest and pull downs or chest and pull, like bench press pull ups.
Yeah,
the opposing
No,
muscles.
it's
Anyway,
like
so
that.
that's like kind of like the old school training
but
method.
he also
anyways.
does like once you move. So he has like that book has like your beginner, and he doesn't want you to move on from beginner until you've done like a certain amount of like inches on your chest. I don't remember what it is.
52.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, like you
So
know,
that third leg, you know.
Yo,
Yeah,
if you had to grow a chest like him, it's like you can't go up to advanced until you
Arnold,
get a chest like
please,
me. It's like,
please.
well, I guess we're never getting
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but no, there's like a 2, then a 3, then there's a competition prep in the book. But like
Yeah.
the first is pretty basic, like it's just like push pull legs, and then it moves on to like you go to the gym twice a day, so you're working whatever you're working. You might work hammies at night, and you're gonna work quads, or like so you work chest and then hammies and then back and then.
There's a couple
quads or whatever.
bodybuilders I feel like that still do shit like that. I think it was like Phil Heath would go in and train biceps in the morning, then triceps in the evening, or quads in the morning, hamstrings later.
I feel like if you have all day, you know, if you're that's like your professional thing, like it, you know, you could fit it in.
Yeah.
You know, especially like now that I see the training I'm doing, I'm like, you know, bodybuilding almost feels easier to me. Granted, I'm not training, you know, on a pro level and doing the same thing that they're doing, but like I see how in a full day you could fit it in, right? As far as rep ranges, Austin, you can speak on this, and since Ronnie, you have a program, but you may still have an opinion on this. How I know for me, certain body parts I enjoy and feel like respond better in certain rep ranges. Like for me, chest is that like 6 to 12 or 8 to 12 kind of spot, but back, I don't really like going over 10 reps for back. Legs, you know, are in that like 6 to 12 kind of spot too.
Yeah.
Like there's certain rep ranges I won't really go. Arms, I don't really go anything ever really below 8, mostly like 10 and up, really. You know?
It depends on the exercise for me.
For
but
sure, yeah.
I definitely like my legs to be a little bit heavier and lower volume,
Yeah.
per se. Upper body's typically moderate to higher. But arms, dude, I can blast those for reps on reps. And
So
reps.
high rep, you always high rep.
Yeah.
Sometimes though, like if I, and it's same for like a leg extension even, if I go really heavy on a leg extension or like let's say like a barbell curl, and I'll just do 6 reps, but I, you know, keep it really heavy, I almost get like the same pump as I would with like 15 reps. Like different, but like as much blood flow and like tightness in the muscle, I almost get the same thing. It's weird.
Shit.
As long as it's heavy and like
Yeah.
a tough 6, you know. I don't know. Sometimes it's weird to switch it up though. Like you normally like who does low reps on leg extension, but like next time you do them, like maybe do a set of 6 or 8, you'd be like,
Yeah.
oh shit,
Like
it's weird.
heavy.
Yeah.
I have to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because usually I'll do them moderately heavy, but like
Yeah.
then sometimes a little body English gets thrown into
Yeah.
like the last couple reps where it's like, oh,
Or
the
you can
12
get
to 15.
fancy and do like John Meadows, rest in peace, used to do is like the isometric holds at the end of
Oh,
a set,
fuck, dude,
which
yeah.
is basically, you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
I
about?
have to do this
Yeah, like-
sometimes.
I was gonna say if you had him programmed in, like I love him on the leg curl, like last set 15, then you hold it like midway for like
Yeah.
15 seconds, like woo.
You gotta cook them things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things to where it's like an overload method, and I don't know if it really leads to much growth, but it makes you feel like you really like worked hard. Like everyone loves, especially like clients, so you'll know this from personal training, they love finishing with like a burnout, you know?
Yeah.
They
oh,
don't
yeah.
want to finish with curls and be like, okay, I'm done. You want them finishing
They
with a
want 'em
drop
smoked.
set. They want to be smoked. They want to be, you know, last set of
I
lunges.
usually do though too. You know,
Yeah,
depends
it
on the
definitely
day,
feels better.
But I feel accomplished when
But
I'm like,
but
damn.
as trainers, you know, like you don't really need to
don't need
be. You don't need a burnout or a circuit to like finish your workout successfully.
yeah.
But as a client and just as a personal individual, it feels good to, you know, finish with like a hard push, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that way, and I don't know. Sometimes I get lazy though, especially like not lately, but you know, sometimes I get lazy and just not push at all towards the end, and just give it. I don't know. I would hit it a little heavier at the beginning, and then I don't know.
Sometimes mid workout, I end up like, yeah, I'll coast a little bit
I'll
if
hit
I'm
a
not too
lull.
focused.
I gotta
Yeah.
eat. I feel like I sometimes like a lot of these workouts recently. They're going over like an hour. Like I want to eat in the middle of my workouts.
That's why you need those carbs.
X
brother.
Works Motion, Code Covington, Code
Yeah,
Broad.
that's
Fuck. No,
Yeah.
I feel the same way with chest and back work. It's like I have to have a carb product, or I notice like I big time dip around like the second back exercise. So I'll do chest. By the time I'm like to the first back exercise or the second, I'm like crashing, like energy wise. Like after 6 reps, I'm just fucking tired. And so I started using like a Anabolic from Steel years ago. Noticed, okay, that like helps a little bit. It's got some carbs. Switched to Demo Day. That's probably my favorite carb product from Axe and Sledge. And then because I'm partnered with X-Works, I've been using their carb products. Also Cluster Dextrin. All of them are mostly using like Cluster Dextrin or Carb 10. And I've been using that just because I have it. And yeah, I use that. But even like today on legs, I was like, I could use it because I was just from the high reps and the high volume.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, it really drains you, and you feel like you'd need like a carb product midway.
See, fortunately for me, I'm the type that I can almost eat like 10 minutes before I work out most of the time.
Yeah,
and I don't feel like shit. So like I had a big bowl of oatmeal right before legs, and I felt like I was held over for the most part. I could eat now. It's now an hour later, but you know, I can see where most people, if you're gonna train for an hour and a half, 2 hours, you might definitely need a midway pick me up.
I usually eat like Rice Krispies. As bad
mid workout?
Yeah, I eat like
Okay.
one
I
or
don't
two
like
Rice
eating
Krispies.
mid workout.
I need something to drink.
Yeah, I could
Oh.
drink carbs. I don't want to like eat anything on my stomach.
That might be a riding thing though, because like if you
Yeah,
go ride for like
maybe
5,
you're
6
used
hours,
to it.
Like I'd eat food. Like I could go like I remember like one time. This is not coach approved, but we stopped at some place and I ate French fries. And then I went and climbed like up this like
Did you
20-minute.
I would
ride
say
through the
it's-
drive-thru?
I don't know though. I feel like with endurance though, you almost are burning so continuously that your body is in such a deficit state where it'll just eat up anything. I mean, you can literally have sodas, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you crush like a Coke mid run, mid bike, whatever, and you know your body just blows through it. But with lifting, I almost feel like because you're not in a constant moving state and you have these rest times, your body, I don't know if it starts to digest it a little bit more rather than just blow through it or
Yeah.
what, but I feel like things sit in my stomach different because I'm on a machine or lying down. That's one thing, you're not lying down
Yeah.
really on
Yeah.
some things, but on like let's say a chest press or something like that, you might be. So maybe that's the difference.
Yeah, I don't use like not to talk about supplements, but like I literally only use Gym Flow products and a pump product. Like Ray doesn't.
Damn
want,
right.
Yeah, Ray doesn't want me on a like protein powder. Like he's a super big
Yeah.
like. This is what like I'll usually eat 700-800 calories before I work out. Then I'm supposed to eat 700-800.
I think to get
after.
the most value out of like your diet, ideally, you are getting like all your protein from actual food sources. That just makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is like a big convenience thing a lot of times, just a protein
you got to take
powder.
it with you everywhere.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about it, most food sources is like whole food, meats, whatever, have a lot more nutrients, micronutrients
With
than
them, yeah.
like packed along with the protein and
Yeah.
amino acids that are in, you know, protein
Yeah.
powders or whatnot. So I can see where, you
And
know,
I'm sure your body knows how to digest it better.
there's a quality aspect to it.
Mhm.
But I think that's cool that, you know, he isn't a coach that's like, oh, supplements. He's like, all right, we're going to do real training, real food.
I like
that's
that.
A good,
I told him he had a good coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Speaking of Gym Flow, we did a little poll on the
Mhm.
private Facebook group. So if you guys are listening, you want to become a part of something cool, make sure you go to Facebook and check out the Gym Flow private Facebook group. I might accept you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We're getting kind of full, but
Yeah.
there's
No,
limited
no new
spots
members.
remaining. But we did a little poll to see what our next product would be, or what it could be potentially, because we've been thinking about some products.
Not the next one. 'Cause
Yeah.
the next one is already basically paid for.
Yeah, paid for, labels
Yeah.
have approved, and I actually just approved quite a few thousand labels.
Oh shit.
It was crazy. So like when you're doing labels, for example, this next product that we're doing 500 right out the gate of each flavor. So we're doing 1,000 units total, 500 of 2 different flavors. And for labeling, the 500 tier to get 500 labels printed, it's only like an extra $275, close to $300 to get like 2,000 labels printed. So it's like you might as well just go ahead and bite the chomp, save
Mhm.
money on the back end to get 2,000 labels, even though we aren't even close to printing or manufacturing that many bottles. But it'll help in the long run, obviously knocking the cost down of labeling. But it's just crazy that they would
Yeah.
even offer that when you're looking at the 500 to 2,000 range. But carb product was number one, which is something we've already started sampling a little bit and dilly-dallying with. We haven't hit it hard with training because he's too scared to, I guess, mix up the fuel.
No, I did it.
Did you?
I took it on a trail run like 3 weeks ago. I
Oh, shit.
told you.
Okay.
It's hard to notice though, like basically it's like, did you feel like shit or did you feel fine?
Yeah.
And I felt fine. And
this isn't going to be something that's going to give you like a spark of
no, but it's going to make sure you don't tank, you know. But it's hard for me to know. I think I just did a 10-mile trail run, which isn't something I feel crazy fresh after. But I felt good. Good. But again, it's hard to notice certain
especially
ingredients.
After only one.
Yeah, after only one, you know.
Yeah.
But I do have like I think 2 sample baggies I still at home made a little concoction of.
Yeah, but I was surprised to see that a lot of people were looking for or were fans of carb products.
And if you are, comment or let us know.
Yeah, let us know what you think down below.
I want to know what the demand's like.
So I'm all about it. I just don't want to create something that other people maybe don't understand yet, or maybe isn't the right fit. But I think that could be a great fit for the brand, especially after we talk
for lifters and endurance athletes. You know,
anybody that's trying to get the most out of their workouts, this would definitely be something that would help fuel you. But yeah, it's exciting stuff. But I guess that's about it.
That might be a good way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
I think we should set a date for a 100-mile ride.
Well,
Like,
she's
we need
putting
to
you on the
stop
spot
bullshitting.
right now.
I think we need to set it.
Well, you pull out your calendar. I don't have my phone on me. My phone's recording. So I know we
should
talked
do
about
it the day I do the 50K.
So we both die, I guess.
So,
Both die together.
We'll go out.
that'll make a great podcast.
Guns
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this week, Ronnie's here. Brock and Austin died.
Yeah.
It's like, hello.
Yeah.
What would y'all like to discuss?
So I know you said we wanted to do another 50-miler
right.
again before I went for a 70, right?
Right.
Is that still part of the
Yeah, so
idea?
what I'm thinking is I think we do 3 weeks on training. Like, I know you're training right now, but like we're kind of on like let's just maintain. But so we're just on like a maintain kind of deal. And then I think the next month, when we start doing 3 weeks again, we should do a rest week and a 50. Then 3 more weeks and do a rest week 75. And when I say rest week, I mean like the week of rest. That weekend we're doing 75 or miles. And then you go 50 1 month, 75 the next, 100. And it really is just going to determine.
It's like by March, I'd do 100.
Yeah, but it's really going to. Well, that's if you do it now. Like I don't want to be like a New Year's resolution person, but I know you have a party on the 18th. So like I know like that's
Move that mic closer.
I know you have a party on the 18th down in South Carolina.
Yeah.
So I know like you're not riding that weekend.
Oh no,
like,
I'll be gone the whole weekend.
So like there's no point to even like try to say you're going to do that. Let's be real.
Well, yeah, so the 50 could be on my birthday maybe, the 23rd, right? Or no, that's that
Christmas.
weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say you start running into
You
Christmas.
jumping right back into a 50-mile literally in like a few weeks?
Well, I don't know what his
No,
plans. I'm listening to Coach
so
over here.
so I was told 3 weeks ago that Austin wasn't going out in the cold and he wasn't going to ride his bike in the real
That's
weather.
what I've heard as well.
So,
Somebody's been
bitches,
saying
listen
that.
here. I went out and bought gloves last night. Right as soon as I got back from the mountain trip, after 4.5 hours of driving, I hopped back in the car because I was like, I got goals. So I went to fucking Marshall's, the best place on earth to buy sports apparel.
Do you probably get some cheapo ones on
I did.
Amazon?
Well, no, I bought some nice grippy gloves and whatnot. They're thin but like thick at the same time.
Little does he know they're probably not going to work with his phone, so he's going to have to pull them
No,
off. to take
they're
video.
approved touchscreen.
really?
They got the little tips
Mine
on
that
aren't.
one through. I was
Mine can't
thinking
really do
about
that.
that.
Yeah, and then I bought some like jogger-esque pants. They're a little tight, but
Dude,
also
they don't
thick.
have code though. They don't have code.
Oh.
cards.
See, these were $14. So
Not 400. Right?
yeah.
I'm gonna bring you some. Like I forgot today, but I'll bring you some. Like
Honestly, it's usually. I mean, I know it's gonna be cold getting here soon, but like I feel like I get a few miles, I'm gonna heat up pretty easily, right?
I think your ears are gonna be cold. Your
Yeah,
nose
well,
are gonna be cold.
Yeah, your legs don't really matter. It's more like your trunk.
extremities.
Yeah, your trunk and your extremities as far as your fingers, your ears that really eat it.
Nonetheless, I'm getting out there.
Okay, so back
Intentions are to get out there.
So we do that next week, and you're partying, and then you got the 25th, which is Christmas. Then the week after is New Year's. So
well, you're acting like I'm a party every holiday. If I got to go out there on my birthday, I'll go out there on my birthday or
if that's
Christmas.
what you want to do, if that's what
I mean,
it's-
what is the need?
I think if you were the realistic thing is I think you do a 50 in the third week of January, so like the 22nd, and then in February you do a 75. Like so that'd be 1, 2. You do like a 75 February 19th,
All right.
and then you would do your 100 on 1, 2, like the 19th or so of March. But
That
then you
sounds
also
fair.
have to deal with weather in this times too,
Yeah,
because
'cause
it might snow in
It
March.
could still be snowing in March. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
when you break out the indoor bike.
So
and
I
iron
think
built.
we just say you commit to by April 1st, April Fool's Day, you'll do your 100 miles.
April Fools. I'm
April
going
Fool's
riding.
like, I ain't going on that. But yeah, I think by April 1, you should say, like, because we can move, because if it snows, we're obviously, you're not going riding.
Yeah, I'm going to need a rain check or snow check, whatever you call it.
Yeah, so I think you should just lock in by April 1. You will do it.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to push for March, but I know sometimes I like to overeat and think I can do something not.
And I'm not trying to say it like that. It's more, I think, weather you're going to deal with. Like, I remember riding in the cold. I woke up the other morning. I walked outside and walked my dog. I was like, there is not enough money you could pay me in the world to go out and ride in this stuff for 5 hours like I was doing a year ago.
Yeah.
Like, it looks miserable to me. So we got that set.
All right, folks.
Well, thank you guys
Share
for
the
listening.
show. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yeah, if you like it, you thought you got some value or made you think, share it with a friend. We're trying to get word of mouth going. We appreciate all the support. Make sure you follow us all in the description below.
Please do.
We'll catch you all next week.
Peace.
We're out of here.
See ya.
See ya.